the kind of person who gets caught up in the latest Gotta Have It craze?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I guess you'd say that.
Yeah, I'm guilty, but I try not to when I think about it.
I don't feel there's a need for me to have it. I gotta have it. But I do like nice things, you know?
No, it's not really that important, and I don't have the money for it, so.
It's just a waste of money. They break in less than a week. I spend my money on something else.
No, I dare to be unique, so I do everything the opposite.
No, I believe in just being me, and if you don't like it, then that's fine.
I just do what I like. I dress how I like. It's what makes me happy and what I enjoy.
When a new product or gadget comes up on the market, like the iPhone or a new video game system, are you the first one in line to buy it?
I wouldn't say the first, because I like to be pretty cheap. If the price goes down, I'll get it, yeah.
I don't like really splurging and spending too much money on things. I'm more patient. I wait for it to go down in price. I only really buy things that I really need.
I'm not the first in line, but I'm pretty close to it. Just gotta kind of have it type thing.
Yeah.
So, like, tell me what kind of item would you?
I got the Verizon Voyager the day it came out.
I didn't have an iPod until like this year.
No, I don't pay attention to things like that.
I'm not greedy or spoiled or anything. I'm happy with what I have. I don't need anything like new or like just came out to make me happy. I have my friends and family for that. There's no need for anything to like stand in line for and wait.
I have 3 brothers and a little sister. So it's if you want it, you buy it. And I don't see the need to have it. If you have a phone, or if you have a phone period and it works, why get a new one?
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it to have all these big gadgets.
I love Beanie Babies. When I was little, this was the thing to have. Like the other day, we were having a yard sale, and my younger brother, he came upon like my book bags of Beanie Babies, and he's like, "Oh, let's sell these." And I was just like, I just looked at him. I was like, "No, this is mine. This is my childhood. Like, you're not selling these book bags of them."
Oh, for me, it was Pokemon cards. I mean, every time I lost a tooth, I never asked for money from the tooth fairy. It was always, I want Pokemon cards. So I'd wake up in the morning, and here's a little pack underneath my pillow with a little note from the tooth fairy, and I was so happy, never got money from the tooth fairy.
Did you ever get caught up in the latest, greatest Gotta Have It craze?
Or you just gotta have the latest version of the PlayStation or the iPod? Or you remember the Pokemon card craze?
I'm sure we all have a story or two on getting caught up in the consumerism trap.
That's just what we'll be talking about today. Consumerism, the latest, greatest, gotta have it craze. Hi everyone, I'm Matt.
And I'm Jess.
And this is Realfaith TV.
Consumerism can be defined as the equating of personal happiness and the buying and owning of material possessions.
Our spotlight guest, Joelle, will tell us about a few times when she got caught up into thinking that material possessions could bring her happiness.
We'll hear from her a little later in the show, as well as meet our studio guests.
But first, let's go back to the teens on the street and find out when they fell victim to the latest craze.
When I was little, about 10 years old, I wanted this model car, and then I got it, but once I got it, it just sat there, you know? Just didn't do nothing for me, and it was a lot of money. It was just a waste.
Xbox 360, all my friends were playing together online, and I felt out of the loop, so I just went out and bought one, and I felt I really needed it, even though I know I don't.
How quickly did the fascination of the item wear off once you had it?
It still hasn't a year later.
The iPhone, I wanted that pretty bad, and I got it, but it wasn't really that all like what I expected it to be. I give it like 2 weeks, and then I was so bored of it, so I got a new one.
When I was younger, the Furby was the new thing to get, and I had to get it, and my mom ended up buying it for me when it was like out of style, but I was still thankful and grateful for it. It lasted about like a week because it got annoying after a while. And after that, it's moved on to like the Tamagotchis.
A pair of sneakers that came out last year, and I wanted them really bad, and I thought I needed them just to fit in, but I really didn't.
The iPod, everyone wanted that, and I really wanted that, so I got it. So I don't have it anymore.
When I saw the iPhone, I really wanted it, and I was like, that's like the coolest thing ever. But then I started thinking about it, and the whole screen is like, you could totally break it, and it's like you're fine with what you already have.
I don't know if it's the latest craze, but I really wanted a Volkswagen Beetle very badly, and my dad told me that I couldn't get one, and I was completely heartbroken, but then I got over it.
I guess my iPod, but even then I waited a while for it. I don't really go for the fads. The initial excitement does wear off a little bit, but it has its utilities, so I still, like it.
My phone, I tried really hard to get it, and I was successful, but it was kind of stupid.
I guess I got my Blackberry Pierce, and then after a while it was just old.
When I was 7 and everybody had those little tin lunch boxes that the watches used to come in, I had to have it, and then when I got it, the watch didn't even work.
The one girl, she mentioned the Furby. I got mine when you couldn't find them anywhere. Like, they were selling out so fast. So my uncle went out to get me one, and he came back like so late at night with it. And I got it, and I loved it at first, but then it really scared me because it just kept like talking, and it got so old so fast. I like threw it in my closet, couldn't take it. Let's meet our studio guests and find out if they've ever been caught up in the latest, greatest Gotta Have It craze.
Good idea. They are Kira, Vince, Kim, Phil, Chris, and Kalechi.
So are you guys the kind of people who get caught up in the latest consumer craze?
Every once in a while, when I feel like there's something big, I'll have to go out and buy it. But usually I just kind of wait till the price drops down so I could save some money on it and maybe it won't be as popular then.
I usually don't, but when the Tamagotchi came out, everybody had to have it, and all my friends made a big deal about it. So when I got one, it was so boring. All it did was get sick. So I gave it to my friend, and it was done.
And more often than not, I'd try to go out and get them, but I'd ask my parents for money, and they'd be like, no, you're not going to get it. You'll just throw it in your closet a week later. But at one point, like, I finally had the money, and I went out and got this headband from the show Naruto, and I got it, and I was like, it's just a strap of fabric and metal. It didn't do anything for me. I wore it once at a retreat, and then that's it. And I was like, this is useless. I wasted 20 bucks.
That's like me. I like buy clothes and shoes and like bags. Like, oh my gosh. But like when the ponchos were big and like the gladiator sandals and the Uggs, like everything. It's so bad.
I think it takes me a while for me to catch up with the fads. The video game craze about 3 or 4 years ago with the GameCube and the Xbox and the PS2. That was more than 4. But I didn't get those immediately when they came out. I waited until they got cheaper, and then I got all 3. Now I'm sitting here about to go to college this year. I need to get a car, and I want the Wii. I want the 360. I want the PS3, but I have to wait.
Yeah, I'm usually not one of those people that gets caught up in those kind of crazes. I'm usually the one that's just like, oh, I'll wait. Maybe the price will go down. Then 3 months later, the price never goes down, and I'm just like, oh.
In December of 2007, Pope Benedict XVI said that boys and girls at ever younger ages are in danger of being deceived by adults hawking false models of happiness and leading them down the dead-end streets of consumerism.
He said, I think about today's young people raised in an environment saturated with messages proposing false models of happiness.
It's difficult, even when you know in your heart that the product won't bring you true happiness.
Sometimes you just can't resist buying it.
Let's meet our spotlight guest, Joelle, and find out what her experience has been when it comes to getting caught up in the latest craze.
I guess I would kind of consider myself the person who gets caught up in latest Gotta Have It craze with certain things like cell phones and pocketbooks. Other things like video games and things like that, I don't really, really buy those types of things. But sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just really depends on what kind of item it is. I'm not necessarily the first in line to buy it. I really like to see how well the product does after a little bit of time. But after that, as long as I see that it's going well, then I have to have it right after that. I think that some of the consumerism traps that teens fall into, they think that they have to have everything that'll make them cool, make them fit in. I know I personally love Juicy Couture. I love everything juicy. I have sweatsuits, I have pocketbooks, everything that you can think of, I love it. I think that a lot of girls really like that. Boys, I'm not really sure about boys so much. A lot of people fall into the traps with cell phones like Verizon, new Verizon phones, iPhones, the new different types of iPods and Nano. Now they have Nano Minis with real tiny little iPods. I really think that that's like what a lot of the teens buy into, the electronics. I think that sometimes when I watch things on TV or I look online at different things, I feel like, oh, if I have that, I'm really gonna be happy once I get it. But after a while, once you realize that that's not what brings true happiness, then I think it kind of dies down. Most people see things, especially like when they see celebrities on television, they say, oh wow, they have it, they must be the happiest person in the world. It doesn't necessarily bring true happiness. It might bring happiness for a little bit, for a week, a month, but once the hype dies down, you're just on to the next thing.
When have you been caught up in a craze and then felt a big letdown when all the hype and excitement wore off?
I think when the Wii came out a couple years ago, maybe even less, my brother and I, we had to have it, and we searched all the stores everywhere for it. When we finally got it, we played it that day, but then you woke up the next day and it was just, you didn't want to play it anymore. You're just kind of done. And it was ridiculous to spend all that money on something I played once.
I know that feeling. When the PSP Lite came out, I had a PSP already, I had the regular PSP. But for some reason, I was compelled to get the lighter one. It does the exact same thing. It has one extra feature, but I had to have it. So that Christmas, I went, my mom and I looked all over for it, we got it, and I got one video game extra for it. Coming to find out, my mom works nights, so I opened my Christmas presents at 12 midnight. Come to find out, there was no video game in the box. They sold me a box covered in plastic, and I think that was like a sign saying, you know what.
I got the iPhone when it came out, the first one, and I was like, I have to have it. It's so cool. But now, like, it's just my phone now. I'm kind of like, it's okay. Like, but I still love it. So I don't feel like the hype died down necessarily because I'm still like, I love it. But
I had to have a cell phone too when the chocolate phone came out, you know, the one that slides back and forth. I had to have the bright green one, my favorite color. So I waited and I finally got it for Christmas and I loved it and I was so excited. I was playing with it, sliding it open, close. And 2 weeks later, a new one came out, a better one. And I was so bummed and I was like, ouch, bummer.
For me, I was one of the very first people in my group of friends to buy Guitar Hero 3. I bought it the first day it came out, and then the very next day, the first time I played it, I beat it in a day. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah, back when Yu-Gi-Oh cards came out, I was just like, I don't like this. Then my friend gave me a card, and I was like, okay, let me get a few. So I got a few, and like 2 weeks later, I had like over 100 cards, and I was building a deck and playing with them. And then like a year later, I looked at it, and I was like, I wasted so much money on this. What was I thinking? And my mom was like, I told you so.
You know, I'm one of those like Sims freaks, and I have like every expansion pack. And what really gets me mad is like every time you buy an expansion pack, it's like a month later, a new better one comes out with more features and everything, and you're just like, another one? I have to spend another $30-something. It just gets so much.
We live in a comprehensively connected world.
Sometimes it can seem like a 24/7 consumer-driven paradise of greed and gratification.
You don't have to leave your house to shop, or even leave your bedroom to be entertained and informed.
It's easy to get caught up with these latest gadgets and devices.
Let's go back to our interview with Joelle, who will tell us how she finally saw the light.
And realize that we should look inside of ourselves and to others, because the latest gadgets and devices will never be enough.
When I wanted something really badly, I know at first I had my old cell phone, the first cell phone I got. It wasn't a camera phone. I could just really just call someone and they could call me. And I wanted something that could take pictures and I could send pictures back and forth and videos back and forth to my friends. And so I went out and I got this phone actually. My aunt bought it for me. And when I got it, I could finally take pictures. And at first I really, oh, this is really cool. But after a while, it just kind of died down and just kind of got really old and I didn't really care about it as much. Probably about maybe 2 or 3 months after I had my cell phone, I didn't really, not that I didn't care about it anymore, but I just really only use it just to call people and not so much to take pictures or take videos. I kind of saw the light after once I started getting different things like cell phones and pocketbooks and realizing that after a while you don't really care about those things that much and it doesn't make you happy anymore. If you put all your time and effort into buying the latest craze things or whatever, you eventually aren't gonna use those things after a while. They're gonna become outdated. You're gonna wanna find the latest thing again and it's gonna end up not being enough for you. But if you look to other people and you look inside yourself, that stuff never becomes outdated. You're gonna be able to build on those types of things instead of just buying the new cell phone and then a year later you want a new one. Or buying the new game system and then 6 months later here comes a new one and you have to buy that one. That's never gonna be enough for you. If you look inside yourself and you look to other people, those are the types of things that will start to become enough for you and you'll be able to grow based on those types of things.
What is it about some of these latest fads and products which make them so hard to resist?
Well, I think when they're advertised, the companies, they use these big flashy things, pictures, names, and action scenes from movies or something to advertise and to make them seem like, oh, it's really cool.
Oh, and also I think they use celebrities and good songs and they show only the good stuff. They don't show the bad stuff.
And advertising companies have, spent time and money for years trying to understand what it is appeals to the youth of America.
Also, like when you see your friends have something, that's kind of like, oh man, they have it, now I gotta get it. Like, so even not like the marketers themselves, just people that you see in your everyday life.
And on the commercials and the advertising, because they always use that catchy jingle or somebody having fun doing the thing that you want.
The ads definitely try to make you feel like you have to have it, and if you don't have it, you're going to feel left out because everyone else is going to have it. So they make you want to buy the product.
And I know, like, with the athletes nowadays, they're paid to wear, like, certain names. Like, Tiger Woods, he's paid to wear Nike. So, like, golfers will be like, oh, Tiger Woods, he's this great golfer, you know what I mean? If I get Nike, I'll be as good as Tiger Woods. I'll be great.
Even in like Project Runway, like when they say like the bluefly.com wall, they say it 15,000 times so that you're like bluefly.com. Like I actually looked at bluefly.com because I never heard of it before. And even like on the clock that they show, it's like Timex. Like everything, every little way they can get themselves in there.
Yeah, like celebrities are everywhere with their little cell phones, who has what cell phone, and every time you're just like, whoa, I can have the same phone as this person, you know? So how do we prevent getting caught up in the latest consumer craze?
And curb our desires to buy the latest and the greatest.
How can our faith help us with this?
That's what we asked the teens on the street.
Let's check it out.
Does your faith guide you in any way when you may get caught up in the latest craze?
Yes, because I have to think about what I need more. Like my family would need a lot more things than like a new like iPhone or anything like that.
I guess so in a sense because it's what's out there is not always going to be there. Like what you can afford or what's needed for you should be there. Material things don't really mean anything in the end.
When you think about it, you know that some things are more important than products.
I think so because it's not really about material objects. It's just as long as you have love in your family and from your friends, then you shouldn't need the new gadgets.
Sometimes when I'll see people in need, and then I'll have something that I know that I don't need, and then I just spent money on, and I'll be like, oh wow, that could have helped someone else, but instead I'm getting entertained.
Prayer can help you because if you pray for like a new thing, it can maybe like help you get over it, like telling you like you don't need it, like you can do better things around the world and everything else for you to like be happy.
Prayer is a good thing. It's a positive situation, and if you get caught up in that's like addictions, like you always need something. If you get caught up in the wrong thing, then you don't get done what you needed to get done for you. Say if you have bills to pay or something, why would you go out and get an iPhone if you have to do something else?
When you decide, I don't need this, but this is more important, you could pray about it.
If you like believe deeply in prayer and have faith, then if you put like your mind to it, then you can overcome your addiction to it or whatever.
It can really help when you just put your mind to it and you sit there and pray. Usually good things happen when you do that.
I guess it just grounds you and just makes you realize to be thankful for what you have instead of, trying to get things to make you happy.
In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 19, Jesus tells us,
Do not stir up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and decay destroy, and thieves break in and steal.
but store up treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor decay destroys, nor thieves break in and steal.
For where your treasure is, there also your heart will be.
Next, Joelle tells us why she puts her relationship with God above any material possessions.
And that her true treasure is her relationship with God.
Yes, my faith does help me when I get caught up in the latest craze, because then I start to realize this isn't going to bring me true happiness. Being with God is what's really going to help me to be happy in my life and to be successful, not getting the new telephone or the new pocketbook. Personal happiness that I find without materialistic things is I'm able to be more in touch with God, and I'm able to, put those things aside and just sit with myself instead of sitting with my phone or sitting with the television or buying new clothes. I'm able to look inside myself and find personal happiness without those things in my life, and just have time for me by myself, or have time to talk to God and find happiness that way. I feel like these gadgets take away from our time with God, because we start to put aside praying and put aside going to church in exchange for watching television or listening to our iPods or playing with something that we just got from the toy store, or trying on new clothing, or going to the store to buy new clothing. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing that I lack is one of the scriptures that I think of when I start to become consumed in buying the latest craze. And when you're with God, there's nothing that you lack. But if you're at the store or you're trying to buy new things, you feel like there are things that are lacking and you feel like there are things that you want. You don't need to look to those things for stuff that you're lacking. Just look to God, and there's nothing else that you need. If you're with Him, you're set.
I love that. The Lord is my shepherd, so nothing I shall lack. It's so true because, like, you don't have to have any possessions to have something. God is always there. He'll always be there. So what advice do you have on how to put God first and how our faith can help us to not fall for the latest craze?
I think as long as you realize that God gives you what you need and that you don't really need anything else, it'll just help you to kind of let go of those material things.
Well, yeah, I agree with her. I believe that these things right here, they won't give you anything, but God can give you something. The best things in life are free: life, friendship, and love.
I do agree. I think it's important to understand that we don't need material possessions. We have all we need from God. For instance, in the Bible, they talk about the flowers of the field not wanting, not needing anything but what they have from God. They don't have clothes. They don't have fancy objects like we do. We don't need that to sustain life. All we need is what we have from God.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, look at Adam and Eve. God originally created us, where we didn't need anything. Adam and Eve didn't have clothes. And then when they ate the apple, we fell into the trap of original sin. So, I don't think God intended for us to be going after all these material goods. He just wanted us to have Him to fill us up.
And also, like, if you're really struggling with something, just pray and be like, please, God, don't let me fall victim to this new phone or these new shoes or whatever it may be in your case.
Yeah, and it reminds me of the time of Moses, because when they were traveling through the desert for 40 years, whenever they needed something, God provided. When they needed water, Moses struck the rock and God provided water. When they needed food, they woke up, there was manna and quail everywhere. And it was just God provided them with what they needed, not with things that they wanted.
Prayer is a powerful tool for us.
It can help us in our relationship with God and also give us the strength to fight temptations.
Next, Joelle tells us how prayer helps her fight temptation to get caught up in the latest craze.
And how her faith inspired her and her twin sister to forego flowers at their church for their Sweet 16 service and donate the money to a couple of church ministries.
Prayer can help me fight the temptation of consumerism because I can ask God for help when I start to feel like, oh, I need to get this, I need to buy something. I can start to ask God for help to, maybe cut back on the things that I really want to buy, or cut back on things that I don't really need and spend my money maybe helping someone else to get things that they actually do need and not the things that I want. For my Sweet 16, we were going to get flowers to to decorate the church, but instead we had sat down and talked about that for a while, and it was going to be kind of expensive. So what we did instead was we donated money to the soup kitchen at our church and a daycare center at our church instead of decorating the church where we had the ceremony for my party with flowers. It made me feel really good because I realized you don't really need things to for yourself. That wasn't something that was a necessity to have flowers in the church, but a necessity for other people. They need food to survive. They need to come to the soup kitchen and get things that they need for everyday life. And kids at the daycare center, they need that help every day to go there, their parents to send them there, and it made me feel really good that I was able to help these people that were truly in need. If I had to give advice to someone who was really attached to materialistic items or someone who was thinking about buying something, I would say, maybe not necessarily don't get it, because if you really want it and you can afford it or you saved your money up to get it, then you deserve to have it. But don't necessarily look for happiness in those things. You should look to other people or look inside yourself or look to your family for true happiness.
I really want an iPod. I don't have one, and I prayed to God about it because I was just like, God, I don't know what to do. Should I save up my money for it? Should I ask for it for Christmas? But God helped me realize that my cell phone is also an MP3 player, so I don't need the iPod. And He just helped me realize that you don't need something that you really want. You only need stuff that you need, if you know what I mean. You need stuff to help you live and the necessities, shelter, food.
And then with things like video games and stuff, you always got to look deep down and realize that there's going to be the newer, better model in 6 months or so.
I think, like Matt said, it's important to realize the difference between need and want. And once you realize that, it'll be a lot easier for you to be close to God and move away from the material possessions.
But also you can look to God to help you discover what the difference between needing and wanting something actually is.
I do think prayer and reflection are a key role in understanding that, I think.
And you know, we learn as we get older. It's not always constantly what you want. I know personally, like when I was little, it'd always be like, you'd see a commercial and be like, oh, I want that. You know, I need that. But you know, I've grown now. I've gone from having like book bags and book bags of Beanie Babies to donating my money to something more useful instead of buying more stuff.
Remember that how we earn, spend, and share speaks volumes to our commitment to living an ethical life and Christian charity.
We live in a world of temptations, vices, and jealousy.
Which is why the 10th commandment, not to covet your neighbor's possessions, is so hard to follow.
As Christians, we are called to banish our desires and to conquer the materialism that can stall our right relationship with God and a life of discipleship.
How does your faith keep you from being caught up in the latest craze?
We'd like to know. Contact us through our website.
The address is www.realfaithtv.com.
Or you can call us at 609-406-7402.
And remember,
fads will come and go like the wind,
but God's love never ceases.
So put all of your trust and faith in God our Father and Creator, who loves us without conditions.
And you will find true and lasting happiness.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time on
Realfaith TV.
God bless.